Hi there, folks. It's David Ostriker. It's kind of overcast, which is why you can see my eyes today. Day here. I got caught in the rain. I get sprinkled on today. Today is the 23rd day of ADAR, and it's PARAH SHEMINI. So just at the beginning of PARAH SHEMINI, I want to say a special shout out to Charles, whose life was changed by this parsha. And if you're curious about how, you can see it on KosherTube. There's an interview with him about this week's parsha. This week's parsha, which falls again on the 23rd of Adar this year, is really interconnected with time and dates and subject. It's also PARAH, the parsha of the red cow. It's also a very special, with the PARAH comes a very special HAFTORAH. I'm going to try and weave these things together for you with some clarity, because as always with the Torah, there are no coincidences. And we should live with the Torah of the day of the week, and this is all fitting together. Or so I think. Let me try it on you, okay? The 23rd day of Adar, in this case Adar Bet, 23rd day of Adar was the first day of the 8 days, of the 7 days, that the Kohanim, Aaron and his sons, joined Moshe Rabbeinu for 1 week of schooling, so to speak, in the Mishkan. On the 8th day, PARAH SHEMINI, meaning 8th, on the 8th day was the day in which Moshe would step back, and the Kohanim would now begin to be the only people who would ever perform the service inside the Beis HaMikdash, inside the Mishkan, later the Beis HaMikdash. So this is the first of those 8 days. The 8th day is really what PARAH SHEMINI is about. It begins with a very, very tragic story. We're told that the 2 elder sons of Aaron, nephews of Moshe Rabbeinu, Nadav and Avihu, took a strange fire, some kind of incense, strange fire, and brought it before God in the Mishkan. And God destroyed them. He killed them there in the Mishkan. It seems that it was an internal combustion from inside of themselves out. Their cousins, brothers, removed them from and took them out. Moshe told Aaron that God had said he would be sanctified by those closest to him. A very mystical and mysterious statement. Later on, Moshe says to the 2 remaining sons and Aaron, you need to eat the sacrificial offerings of today. It's a very special day for the Jewish people. It's not a day when you can mourn. I know that you're in pain, but today is the 8th day. It is the inauguration of the Mishkan and yourself. And so you can't mourn, and more than that, you're required to eat the burnt offering, the sin offering. Aaron and his sons refused to. Moshe castigates them and says, this is what God said, you need to do it. And Aaron says, do you really think on a day when I have suffered as I have suffered the loss, that God wants me to celebrate? Moshe accepted Aaron's argument. It must have been a tremendously shocking moment for a father. It's unimaginable, the loss this way of his 2 elder sons. And then we move on to PARAH. PARAH is the final reading separate reading from the Torah on Shabbos, and it's the description of the red cow, and that the red cow, how it's dealt with to become, its ashes become that which relieve us from the impurity associated with death. Death in the Jewish world is associated with, obviously, with loss, with a vacuum created, an emptiness in this world. And of course, wherever there is emptiness, impurity has a tendency to rush in. And so one needs to be purified after having contact with the dead. And it's a complicated thing. I certainly don't understand it. PARAH describes the process that one goes through to be relieved of this impurity associated with mace, with death. And is it connected to the death of Nadav and Avihu? Could be. Is it connected to the pain and the suffering of Aaron and his sons, remaining sons? Could be. There's a hint in the HAFTORAH. The HAFTORAH is in many ways a very glorious HAFTORAH from Ezekiel. It begins painfully with God describing all of the things we have done wrong after we were exiled, and his disappointment and his pain. But it comes to a moment, a glorious, glorious moment, that God really tells us that in spite of this, you are still my children, you are still my people. And he says, I shall take you from the nations, and I shall gather you. I shall gather you in from all the countries, and I shall bring you to the land. Very important. I shall bring you to the land, and I shall sprinkle pure water upon you, and you shall be cleansed. So the ending is glorious and good, despite our mistakes. Now, by the way, this all usually happens during the rainy season in Israel, and I got sprinkled on today. So it gives us a lot to think about. Pain, grief, exile, how difficult it is to remain what we're required to be in a land not our own. And then the glorious moment that God will purify us again and bring us back into the land and prepare us to be the nation of Mashiach. Prepare us to bring to the world that time that will come when we will know war no more, and when we will glory in Israel, will give to the world its needs. So Shabbat Shalom, Parsha Shemini, Shabbat Shalom, Shabbat PARAH, right? And we're staring at Pesach. Don't quiver. Just enjoy Shabbos right now. We'll get to Pesach soon enough. Be well. We're down to the last 6 lemons behind me. They're going quickly now. Wishing you well. Shabbat Shalom from here in cloudy KarmiEl. Bye-bye.